Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, presented by True Classic. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Connor. We got a little bit of news to cover today, a little schedule change happening, the PDGA updates, some stuffs, and then we're going to do one of the favorite off-season Grip Locked segments of last year, In the Bag. Then we're going to go over some off-season player tracking, and then finish it out with a new game that no one knows about but me, but I'll explain it when we get there. But first, word from our sponsors. Fall is in the air, and our friends over at Vincero Collective has sponsored this episode to make sure all of our listeners are accessorizing their autumn outfits with premium watches, jewelry, sunglasses, and more. Their top-tier designs make sure you look class while you save some cash. Other watchmakers have insane markups, so that's where Vincero steps in. You can have the look of a premium lifestyle without breaking the bank. So for a limited time only, get 20% off and free shipping site-wide with our exclusive code GRIPLOCKED over at VinceroCollective.com. They design everything in-house, source their own materials, and produce in small batches so the quality is at the highest possible standard. So whether you have a work meeting or a nice date planned, a high-quality watch can make a great first impression. And Vincero offers many attractive designs for a modern individual. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, durable silicone, and genuine Italian leather straps, these watches offer traditional, automatic, and Japanese quartz movements. So Vincero Collective also offers iconic sunglass styles with polarized lenses and 100% UV protection so you can block out the sun with style. Get 20% off and free shipping site-wide with the code GRIPLOCKED at VinceroCollective.com. Support our show and use code GRIPLOCKED at VINCERO Collective.com and accessorize your life at a winner's price with Vincero. All right, first off, the top of the show, a little bit of news here. The Pro Tour has come out with a schedule change. So they've added, since the last time we talked about the schedule, they've added 4 new silver events to the calendar. First is the Cascade Challenge at Kayak Point in Washington, May 26th through 28th. They added the Zootown Open.
That's so sick.
June 9th through the 11th, which is in Missoula, Montana. They've added the KC Wide Open, which that was an old... I think the Zootown Open was an NT at some point too, wasn't it? At least it was a big...
Heard of it.
I've heard of the Zootown Open before, but the KC Wide Open was definitely an NT back in the day, July 7th through the 9th in Kansas City, Missouri. And then the Mid-America Open got added back. So the Mid-America Open was one of 5 2022 events that had been removed, but it will return in its summertime slot. Other events are brand new to the Pro Tour, although the KC Wide Open was a long-time national tour stop. That's from UltiWorld. Additionally, the Portland Open has moved from May 25th to 28th to June 1st to 4th to move off of the Tim Selinsky's U.S. Masters weekend. It's 2 hours away from Portland and Eugene on May 25th to 28th. The Cascade Challenge will offer younger touring pros a spot to compete that weekend. So the Masters is happening, so they want to still have an event, but be able to change it up a little bit. So that's where the Cascade Challenge comes in. The Discmania Open has moved into the East Coast swing, switching from July 7th to the 9th, which is the KC Wide Open, taking that slot, to September 8th through 10th, right after Worlds. So move some things around. Also, fair reminder, we already had one event for the 2023 season. We're about to have another one here, not this weekend, but the next weekend, I believe, the New World Open. So that's something else that's coming down the pipeline. But bunch of different
shorter and shorter.
Bunch of different changes going on. Brody posted a picture, I don't know if you saw it, of the schedule.
It's nuts.
Basically, once you hit, I think it's May-ish through like the rest of the year, if you played every event, there's not an off week.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point, which is, I think it's cool to have like so many events, but it's definitely, it's weird because Silver Series, like when they first started, they were kind of like, some players played them, some players they didn't, but then like slowly they've sort of built to like you kind of want to play all the Silver Series, but now that there's becoming so many, I feel like that's going to start trickling back down again because players are going to be like,
they are worth more this year.
Burn out. I know, but like, man, there's so many. Like it's
still not worth that much to me.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because I feel like the players are going to want to play them, but like it's going to like burn people out if they're.
No, yeah,
it's crazy how many.
I think the silver events I still think are going to break off and be more of a qualifying, like that's where you test the water because you can't, like the Pro Tour is going to eventually be like tour card only.
Right. Yeah, I think it's right now that just because you need a bigger tour first, but I think once they get a bigger field that they can like have the exclusive tour and then a smaller tour too, like, and probably I guess logistics wise might be tough to like split because you probably have to split up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's definitely the model. Well, shout out to the Cascade Challenge, by the way, for using the name Challenge instead of the Open. Like every other event you just named, Open. Like, I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Challenge, baby. Shout showdown.
Like,
You
I
still
also
need a
think
showdown
it's good.
and a shootout.
We do need a showdown and a shootout. I do think it's also good because now we just got 4 more events that we're going to get coverage at. Like next year, coverage-wise, you're basically going to be able to watch some form of live disc golf almost every weekend.
Yeah,
for the whole season.
We're going to be very busy bees with stuff to talk about. It's great. It's great for us, and like I like it a lot when like KC Wide Open events that have like a long history are brought in as Silver Series. Like that excites me a lot because it's a way to like keep them alive even if they're not quite up to standard for the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
I want there to be a tournament that's like sponsored by. They'd have to be big enough to where it could be a like actual good like tournament. So I think like a barbecue chain.
Okay.
Because like a local barbecue place, I want like a barbecue.
Mission Barbecue.
Yeah, so like a Mission Barbecue tournament, but I want it to be called the Mission Barbecue Chowdown Open.
Oh, the Chowdown.
Chowdown.
Yeah. Or no, get open out of there. It just be called like the Mission Barbecue Bedford County Chowdown.
I like it. I mean, I played in a tournament at a park called Creekside Park in Pennsylvania. It was called the Crawdad Cooker. They called it the
That's
Cooker.
fantastic.
Like, that's sick. Who isn't excited about that?
So from May 12th through September 17th, there isn't an off weekend if you play Silver Series, majors, and thing. And then after the 17th, the U.S. Women's is the next weekend.
Chris Dickerson's like playing like 5 of them.
So for for the U.S. Women, they go from the 17th to U.S. Women's, and then from the 24th they go straight to USDGC. So the like FPO players won't have a break until the end of the season, starting May 12th if they play everything.
Where is U.S. Women at?
Burlington, North Carolina. It's at we played it for where we played that Tri-State Challenge that 1 year.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the name of that park? Cedar Creek, maybe. They have like Wellsprings, and then they have another course. But then they took one. It was called like Cedar Rock. That's the name of the park.
Cedar Rock, yeah.
But they had one called. It was only used for like the U.S. Masters, and then they used it for Sneaky Pete the year I played it. It was like a temp course that played on the backside of the property. That was like a very, very good course. They made it permanent for U.S. Women's coming up, so they've been putting that in. So that'd be cool. But yeah, very busy schedule coming up. It all kicks off with the All-Star Weekend, February 17th through the 19th in Arizona.
It is cool, too, with this schedule because even though the purses have kind of been slowly growing in disc golf, the overall season purse is effectively growing because there are minimum purse requirements for these events. So because they have this, when you have more events, you have more opportunity for players to cash, and therefore there's going to be more players that are able to cash a living. I'd actually be curious to know like how many players, cashed like a decent living last year.
But you also have living expenses go up if you play them all.
It's true.
Because also,
it depends.
If you don't have a sponsor paying for these events,
it depends on if you're getting your events covered, which I think is at a certain level is pretty standard. But I know it's not the case for a lot of the grinders out there on tour. But
yeah, I think I'll put it this way. I think there's 3 categories of pros. There's the top tier pro that they don't care what they cash or what they pay.
Probably like 10 of them.
Yeah. Maybe more.
Maybe
but
15.
They have such
Not
good
many.
guarantees / such good tour series sales that it doesn't really matter what they do on the course.
Yeah.
They need to keep their performance up to keep those contracts, but contract-wise. Then the next tier, I think they're like entry fees are covered. They have somewhat of a guarantee, but they need to cash some to A, keep their contracts, and B, that's a good way to supplement their living.
Yeah.
And then you have the bottom part, which they get bonuses, and they probably don't have their entry fees covered. They might have a small stipend towards like gas and stuff, but they have to cash to live.
Yeah, with those guys, it's kind of like their bonuses typically can cover the entry fee, and then whatever they cash is what they take home a lot of times.
Yeah, so like that is the demographic of disc golfers that is fascinating because that's the dogfight. Because like if you're on this top group or even the middle group, if you go a week or 2 without cashing or you go a week or 2 with like low cashing, you're not too stressed. If you're the bottom group, if you go a week without cashing, you might not be able to pay the entry fee to the next week.
Yeah. It's very interesting to see like what the landscape of disc golf will be going forward as far as there's like 2 different kinds of like hunger in sports where you have like you can have the hunger of let's use the PGA Tour as an example. On the PGA Tour, obviously, if if you've made it and established yourself as a touring professional for a while, like you're going to be pretty wealthy. Like you're going to do all right for yourself because like you have to make money to keep your tour card. So therefore, if you're keeping your tour card, like if you're on the tour for years consistently, you're doing well. So like being on the tour, any of the tours below that, like even the Corn Ferry, like that's not really the case. It's kind of a grind. So like the hunger is to like get to that money. Whereas in disc golf, and then once you get there, like get even more wealth. Whereas in disc golf right now, it's almost like the hunger is more of like a survival hunger. It's not like there is money motivation, but like the money is really only at the very top. So it's much more of like a grind. I'll just be curious to see as like the money distribution shifts in disc golf, like how the players change the way they approach like training and everything like that. Like if more money in the sport makes them go even harder, realizing that it's right there in front of them, or if it softens people up.
I think it depends.
I think it depends on the person probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think big contracts, big guaranteed contracts, it's easy to soften people.
Yeah.
I would say statistically in most sports, that's what softens a player the most.
And even that one though, it kind of depends because some players get that big contract and go soft because they're just not really like lasered in, whereas some players get that contract and then the pressure's off their shoulders. They know they're paid and like they get even better.
Yeah, I think there's definitely happens, but I think that where real like what we've seen somewhat this year is more money's coming into the sport, A, in guaranteed contracts, but you have to play good to get to those guaranteed contracts, but B, in the purses, to where a lot of times if you win one of these Pro Tour events, you're taking home a nice chunk of change.
Right.
Where you can, even with the expenses of touring, live for a month off of a win, maybe longer, depending on the win you get.
Yeah.
Some of them you can live 2 or 3 months off the win, and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
I think that hunger is what's driving the field skill level higher.
Yeah.
Is A, just the prestige of winning a Pro Tour event feels like it's worth a little bit more now.
Yeah, certainly.
Because of how good the field is. And then B, because the money's getting bigger in the purse and the money at the top's getting bigger in the purse, then there's an additional hunger to win and drive towards that top. Because like if you're averaging top, we'll say top 20, 25, I would imagine you're gonna make a okay living out there.
Oh yeah.
If you're averaging top 20, whereas before you go back a few years, if you're averaging top 20, you're worthless to a lot of companies. But averaging top 20 now, that means you're like filthy good. A few years ago, it just meant you can live on tour, but like what are you gonna do for us?
Right.
But averaging top 20 in today's landscape, and especially next year, I mean that just is a whole different tier of player. So it's definitely something interesting. And like we were talking about with the off-season contract stuff last week. I think contracts are going to continue to look more and more different as these years slowly roll on.
Yeah.
Because the current model was designed in a sport where you had a few dominant athletes and they represented kind of each brand, or you had like 2. Now domination looks different in disc golf.
Yeah.
And
for sure,
you can have quote unquote dominant athletes. You can have 3 or 4 or 5 of them on a team, because if you have a 2-win season, or even sometimes a 1-win and a lot of good finishes seasons, that is such a valuable player. Whereas before it was like, Ricky, Paul, and then like you can sneak in Eagle sometimes and stuff like that. We're winning, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, this culture, this ecosystem of like wins. I mean, you look at next season right now, and that open landscape of everything's on the table to win, and like it's a dice roll.
Yeah.
And that environment is best for the marketable players, because what happens is, like, if you look at a sport like golf, you have guys like a Ricky Fowler. So there are guys that will obviously have dominant eras in golf, and that's how they'll write their script, like Tiger Woods, obviously. Who's also marketable. But you have guys like a Ricky Fowler, who has literally won like only a couple events on tour ever. He has like one kind of signature win at the Players Championship, but has dominated marketability wise because he's a marketable guy, and because golf is not just dominated by a few people. Like they're not winning every other event. So as long as you're popping in here and there, and like you're known as a good player, and your company does a good job of showing you off, and you do well on social media, like this environment is perfect for those players. Like that is where those players are going to thrive because they now know like I just need to stay around and be marketable, and there's no longer going to be somebody who wins half the events and like, well, of course everybody's going to look to them. Now there's more of a popularity contest involved.
Who is disc golf's Ricky Fowler?
I would say
If you
disc
had to
golf
put right now.
I would say disc golf's Ricky Fowler. If you would have asked me before this year, it was Simon Lizotte by a million. I would say now Drew Gibson comes to mind.
I was thinking Kevin Jones.
Kevin Jones is another
possibly.
one that comes to mind.
Outfit wise, just like because Ricky Fowler, I just think of the all orange bright Joel Freeman.
Joel Freeman.
Where like Joel Freeman, you just like he sticks out.
He's not
to
quite
you.
as marketable, but I agree.
But
does
the outfit,
pop.
I think, had a lot to do with Ricky Fowler being marketable.
It's true.
And so I
it's
think
true. He did get people talking. That's kind of
like,
how it started.
I would say Joel Freeman, I think people know his name, and it's also sometimes it's just like he stands out on the course.
Yeah, no,
like if you watch a clips of like 15 different people and they're all dressed the same, and then Joel Freeman's one of those 15, you're probably gonna remember his shot.
Ricky started with the all orange outfits. I mean, if you look back at it now, it looks so absurd. But then it was like kind of cool. It was like new wave. Like
it was edgy.
Yeah, for golf especially. And yeah, I think that Kevin Jones is a big one for sure. Kevin Jones has like a very matching. He has like the mindset in disc golfers matched where it's like people think Kevin Jones is so amazing, but he only has a few wins. And he's done that because he stays around and he's talented and he pops up, in skins matches and stuff like that.
He also looks athletic.
Yeah.
Like you look at him and he's like looks like
he's a smooth player for
player.
sure. I think Kevin Jones, I hope there's more to Kevin Jones
there
than
is,
just
for
that.
Sure.
And what he's doing with the music thing makes him like a little more relevant. Like obviously he's popping up on social media a lot. So Kevin Jones is a good one, but yeah, there are a number of guys that will thrive off an era like this. Because winning dominance, it still can happen. We're definitely not out of it. Cause golf was around for hundreds of years and then Tiger Woods happened, like there's absolutely the possibility that Ricky could win 8 events next year.
Yeah.
Or B, somebody like Gannon a couple years from now could just start taking over, or next year could just start taking over. Like it's absolutely.
But I think
not
the
out of
key
question.
difference is the former, which I feel like this is what we're out of. The former dominance was if Ricky and Paul showed up, there were seasons where if they were both at a tournament, one of them won. I think 2018 that was the entire season. If they were both there, one of the two of them won. So like when they showed up, you knew it was them two.
Yeah.
Versus dominance now is, let's say that Ricky next season won 8 times. I would bet that there's 6 or 7 different second places.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes disc golf a little bit more interesting and exciting this year, or into the next year. Is like last year, if you look at it, we had Simon win, we had Ricky win, we had Isaac Robinson win, we had Eagle win a major, we had Paul win a major. There were so many different winners, but then you had the Corey Ellis sneak in, you had Calvin Heimberg flash up, you had Robert Burridge flash up. Gannon Burr at the beginning of the season, he ended up winning towards the end. You know what I'm saying? Like Luke Humphreys, every single event, there was like different storylines of players who were like pushing the top and either winning or being in the mix, where that just wasn't the case a few years ago. And that's super exciting.
I think what the Pro Tour should be almost most excited about with their product is that they have been able to get this tour together now to where like every Pro Tour is such a big deal. Like winning a Pro Tour, your name's on the map. And like that was not the case in years past. You had to really win certain events or a major to like cement yourself in the season. But now, if I go down the list of players, I'm going to remember the ones that had a win last year, and having a win is just such a big deal now.
Absolutely.
Like it's so impressive. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like go play your local C tier and find out how difficult it is to win that. And then multiply it by 1,000. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah. Another news point to this one, there's really not discussion, I don't think, but maybe there will be. The PDGA is officially getting rid of the terms advanced, intermediate, rec, and novice, and are just using the AM division numbers. So like mixed AM1, mixed AM2,
all the new
women
players
AM3,
are kind of already doing that. That was like a total like COVID boom shell shock to me when I went to my first event. Everybody was calling it MA1, MA2, and in fairness, like it makes perfect sense. I have zero issue with this. But it's so funny because like I was always like, I remember the first time being like, what the heck is MA1? Like I knew advanced.
I knew it just from being a tournament director. That's a code you've used forever going back. That was just always the code, MA1, MA2, MA3. But yeah, it was always advanced, intermediate, rec. And their reasoning behind it kind of made sense. They're advanced, like that was a skill. Like that one makes sense as skill. Intermediate makes sense as skill somewhat. rec didn't make sense skill wise because
Yeah.
like recreationally,
It should have been called like beginner.
like rec
realistically.
players wouldn't be playing in tournaments.
Yeah.
Real like if you use the real term rec and then there's like novice below it, and novice just wasn't even getting used in most tournaments. I know some it seemed like novice is like a locational.
Yeah, it
like
is.
around here, there's never novice divisions.
Right.
But I've said that on a podcast where like no one uses novice divisions, and then someone will be like, "What are you talking about?" Like every
I didn't
tournament
even
here.
know it existed until a year ago.
Yeah, if you look, I want to say Midwest uses a lot of novice to where like what we have rec here, like rec's the big division, novice is a big division, and it's like fascinating. But that's now MA 4, 3, 2, 1. They also adjusted some of the ratings caps on like age protected divisions. So more so just a news thing, probably not going to affect too much. Well, the naming doesn't affect anything. The ratings cap, it seemed like it didn't affect too much. They had all the percentages of how many people still fit under that. So there's something to see there. Do we have a Travers trivia today?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Let's do some Travis's
yeah.
trivia.
Heck yeah, come on, Big Trip.
Of course.
Big T.
So I've got one. You guys can team up on this. You guys can
Yes.
collaborate. It's a pretty tough question.
Hey, we figured out
I don't know
last
if you realize, but Connor and I make an absolute killer team.
Yeah.
We figured
This is
that
a
out last
difficult
week.
one. This is a difficult one.
Last
We
week,
should show him our
we are
skills.
basically each other's hands and eyes.
It was incredible.
guys
Did you
missed-
watch last week's
You
Grip
guys
Lock?
missed out on the heat, so I'm unimpressed. So
It felt like a freaking scorch.
It was hot, man.
Hand
We
him
couldn't
that
help
heat.
it.
Close your eyes.
we've already done this. I'm telling
Nah,
you, we
nah.
got it. All right,
It's easy to say that on this side of the
It
camera,
is.
man.
It is. So we've done like a who am I on this show before.
Who am I?
Yep. Thank you. And we're gonna do a name that season. So I'm gonna give you
Spring.
Dang it, dude.
Jeff Spring.
So basically, I'm gonna give you like a player's. I'll even say this is an MPO player. I'm gonna give you their statistics, like some highlights from a certain season. You're gonna try and name the player and the season.
Love it.
Matteo 2017.
Paul
Are
Macbeth.
you kidding me?
Fresh ball fall.
Wait, are you,
No.
dang it! Come on, man! Don't joke about that.
That's your guess. Now only Hunter gets play.
I thought we were playing together.
Yeah, we're best
Okay.
friends.
All right, this is the name. This is the hints. Okay. 3 A-tier victories, 1 national tour victory, which was the Memorial, 2 majors, the World Championship and the Japan Open, 7 top 3s at other NT and majors, all in one season. Very dominant.
So let's just think about who would be involved in the Japan Open. So this is a while ago, right?
This is probably 2014-ish.
Yeah, because I remember. Is it the lightweight?
Did you tell
Japan
us what the
Open?
2 worlds were?
The 2 majors?
Yeah.
It was Worlds and the Japan Open.
Worlds in Japan. 2014 Paul.
Whenever I hear Japan Open, I only think Paul because he's the only person that I remember being a part of that.
But the only thing with the 2014 season is what else did Paul do that season? Like, could this be Paul 2014? It would fall into the Memorial when Paul just dominated that event. So it would fall into that. But then are we saying he didn't win anything else? Because he won 3 A tiers. But back then, some A tiers were bigger
Yeah,
deals. Like I think
yeah.
Texas State was just. I'm gonna go Paul Macbeth 2014.
I think we just go
Paul
for
2014.
Wrong.
it. Is it Nate Sexton?
I am going to double check and make sure that Paul didn't have identical, like also accomplish all those things in that year, just to make sure, like I don't do y'all dirty. No, there would be things about Paul's season that were different.
Japan
So
Open.
it would not work.
Who is it?
It's not Paul. I'll give you another guess if you like. I'll give you another hint because Paul actually did not. I don't believe Paul won the Japan Open in that year. It does not look like
In 2014?
he may have lost it that year to Rick.
Wait, so you're not saying?
He came in third.
Are you saying it's not Paul, or it's not 2014, or it's not both?
I said it's not 2014 Paul. That's what I said.
So is it
Here's the hint.
Okay,
The
so
hint-
it is Paul.
The
Still.
hint is
No, I
that
don't know.
the,
He's not telling us anything.
Okay.
the hint is that it is prior to that year. It was earlier than 2014.
And someone won Worlds? It could be 2012 Paul.
Oh, that's what I was about to say.
Let's
It's
go
not
20
Paul. All right, it's not Paul.
Okay.
How about Paul? You guys really think I'd pick Paul?
Well, then it has to go prior to 2012. So now we're going back to like the Doss era or Jenkins. Could be Avery Jenkins. He always traveled.
What do you feel about Doss?
2009 Jenkins. Did Doss go to Japan Open? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna give you one more hint. The player that was edged out to win Worlds, the player that came in second at Worlds that year was Nate Doss.
Okay, so it is whenever Nate Doss.
Could
was
also be
relevant.
Feldberg. Could be 2010 Eric
Ooh,
McCabe.
I kind of like Feldberg.
Eric McCabe, I feel like sneaky won Memorial.
Did he?
And he won Worlds.
Was
I
he
could
at
see
Japan?
him winning Japan Open, but I don't know. What Feldberg won in 2011 Worlds? Feldberg definitely won a Japan Open. Do we go 2011 Feldberg?
I like Feldberg for it.
Feldberg is 2011 the right year?
No idea.
I don't know if Feldberg
It's
won
earlier
well
than
before-
2012, though. We know
I don't
that.
know if Feldberg won like 2007 Worlds or if he won like 2011 Worlds. I don't remember what year Feldberg won Worlds. I know McCabe's 2010. Jenkins is 2009. Doss won 3. If we go too far back, we're into the Climo era, early 2000. I think we can go 2011 Feldberg.
Let's do it.
2011 Feldberg.
Wrong. The answer is 2008 Dave Feldberg.
So I just couldn't remember
man.
the year he won Worlds.
Hey, that was really impressive.
I'm kind of blanking on who won in 2011. It might have been Doss.
It could have been Doss again. That could have been Doss's third.
Yeah, it was Doss. Okay, because when you said
I
that,
couldn't
I was
remember
like,
the years.
who was it? Yes, 2008 Dave.
That was
Feldberg.
very impressive,
Pretty
Hunter.
insane season. He was literally top 3 7 times at NTs and majors that year. Like that was when Feldberg was good.
What are you trying to say about him now?
He's not good anymore.
Oh, is that it? It was just one season? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Keeper.
That makes sense why you didn't just tell us no and say the answer and go on. I was like, man, you're really making us dig into this one. I have no idea. That makes sense. All right. So
That's fun.
Off-season player. This is going to
That's
take
hard.
like 2 seconds. I'm just going to correct a few things. Katrina Allen last week, we didn't know. We couldn't find information on her deal. She apparently said on a podcast that it is a multi-year deal with DGA.
Okay.
So unless she leaves early, she's locked in with them. A few people commented saying that I was wrong about Isaac Robinson's contract not being they said it's not up this year, but I again searched, and from what I found at the beginning of this year, he signed a 1-year contract with Prodigy, which would mean
Was it a 1-year extension though?
on UltiWorld it says it's through 2022.
Okay.
So
that's all we've got.
That's all I have to go off of. So as far as I can find online, Isaac Robinson's contract should be up this season, but I could be wrong. Maybe they wrote it wrong and he has a different extension. I don't know.
I hope it's up.
But I would love for. I mean, I think it'd be very good for him timing
I wish
wise
everybody's contract was up.
if it was up. All right, so we're gonna bring back a series that we did last offseason. Everyone
Heck yeah.
tend to love. I enjoyed it. I think everyone at home enjoyed it. It was called In the Bag. So essentially, how it works is we each have 4 items that we get to place in our bag of a certain topic. We're gonna snake draft it. The order, typically it goes whoever came in last the week before gets to pick first.
They
But
get to choose the order.
what?
They get to choose the order.
They get to choose the order, correct?
Yeah.
But since it's this week, we don't have that. How do we want to do it?
Let's just do you, Trevor, me.
Okay.
Well, unless we don't want to do that. I was just
No,
doing it
that's
from like
fine.
the order that
That's-
we're sitting.
That's
That's
literally
fine.
fine. Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do in the bag plastic types. So we're gonna snake draft this. Each
Did
person
you
gets to
explain
pick.
how this works? Did you explain like what we're doing?
Yeah. So you pick the 4 plastic types, and then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put that into a graphic that will be posted on our Twitter at GripLockedPod, and we'll have a vote of who has the best bag. So that's essentially the whole segment. And it sounds like I get the first pick, which means I can take anything I want.
Which means you're taking Star.
And I am going Innova
Yeah.
Champion Plastic.
Champion.
I like
plastic.
Champion more than Star.
Really? Wow. Things
I
are
don't
getting
think
crazy up in here.
Translucent plastic, there's nothing as good as Champion on the market. I think there's some opaque plastic as good as Star. I don't think
I
there's
understand
anything
that.
as good as
I
Champion
understand
on the
that.
market.
That's fair.
I'm
I
going
understand
Champion.
your reasoning. There.
I'm gonna take Star. I
That's good.
I think Star is just I think it's the best plastic ever made. Like I think the Star Destroyer is probably the best disc ever made. That's just as simple as that.
Connor, you get 2.
Okay. I do agree Star is good, but however, I agree with Hunter that there's a lot of Star equivalents that I like just as much.
Just as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Really? Yeah.
Star wasn't even on my list of options because
There's
the
none that I
Star's
like.
been.
There's none that I like
Star's
just as
been-
much.
But think of there's
There
some
are
out
ones-
there
there are
that I
ones I like
haven't
just as
felt
much.
bad versions of. I have felt bad versions of Star.
Well, I mean, if we're taking that into effect.
That's my list is taking that into effect. I like
Okay.
Champion.
Okay,
I
here we go.
haven't really felt too much bad Champion out there.
Champion, I would never choose Champion on this. I love Champion, but there's a lot of clear plastic that I like from other companies.
I struggle
Dang,
with that
dude.
slot. I haven't found it.
So I have a lot of things here that I have.
You get to pick 2.
So it is difficult. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one, kind of a weird one here, but I'm gonna go Sexton plastic.
Color Glow?
Yeah.
It's Color Glow Champion. Are we allowing this?
Color Glow Champ, yeah, I was
Okay.
on my list for sure. There's a different variant.
Because depending on the year of Sexton Firebird that you can get like a stiffer one, or you can get a more grippy, flexible one, and they all feel incredible.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really good plastic, and now the Toro's in that plastic, and it feels incredible. Just a really good plastic. And then so there we go. There's that. Believe it or not, that is the only Innova I have on my list. I'm trying to mix it up here. I'm gonna go ahead and dang. I'm gonna go. Okay, I don't think you guys are taking that. So I'm gonna go Discraft Photon plastic.
Just for the excitement factor.
Photon's the additive. What are you adding it to?
What is the one that the buzz is?
A
CT.
CT Photon.
CT Photon plastic. There we go. I'm going to say Discraft CT Photon plastic. You guys might not have heard of it, but it's what our buzzes are, our custom buzzes that we have right now, our CT Photon. Best feeling plastic I think I've ever felt. Best feeling baseline plastic, and that is as a huge Casey Rock simp. The CT Photon plastic is the best feeling baseline plastic I've ever felt. It has like a nice little bit of grippiness to it, but it's firm. It's really good. And it changes color in the sun.
It does do that. Trevor?
I'm going to take KC Pro.
Dang it.
I think KC Pro is my favorite baseline plastic. I think it has the best shelf life, and I think it just gets better the longer you have it. I think CT is close for me. I don't like it quite as much, and then nothing else I've thrown is as good. I mean, it's the KC Pro Rock, like KC Pro's AVRs are sick. Like, it's just so good.
I wanted KC Pro bad. Mainly the durability.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, like, it gets neat, like, gets like notches and stuff in it, but it takes so long for it to affect the flight.
Yeah.
Which is just incredible.
It's great
For
plastic.
baseline.
KC is so good.
Casey's incredible. All right, so I get 2. I'm going now. Correct me on. I think this is the plastic name, but it's the Royal line, like what the ride's in. Is that just Royal line?
That's one of
called
mine.
What is
Grand plastic.
So the SAR
Sense
type
is the baseline. Grand
is that. Okay,
That
Royal
is-
line. Grand.
That's one of mine that I had on there.
That
that's a good one.
is
That's very
'cause
good
That plastic feels insane.
Yeah, that plastic's incredible. That's the one that I put. I put that one and the next one I'm about to take over Star on my list, which is Neutron plastic, because the Royal line Grand and Neutron, I am yet to feel a bad version of. Both of those feel incredible every time, and I can't say the same for Star. So Royal line Grand and Neutron plastic are my
Fair enough.
number 2 and 3. Back to Trevor for your third
I'm going to
pick.
go ahead and take.
How many picks do we get?
4.
4. Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and take Chameleon plastic.
Nice.
Okay, that's
Simply
a good one.
because Chameleon, it's lucid plastic, which is fine, but I think Chameleon is the best looking plastic that I've ever seen. I think it has such a cool reflective effect, and I would just get so many compliments on it when people would see my like Chameleon film that I threw. Like it just like it looks incredible. The new Meta plastic is close, but it's a little more see through. Whereas Chameleon was like just straight up reflective, like awesome swirls. If you've never seen it from Trilogy, it's insane. So
That's a great choice.
Connor.
That plastic's very cool. All right. I got some options here. I'm going to go with the Streamline plastic, and this is including all the companies that Streamline makes discs for. They're clear plastic.
So Photon.
it's Proton.
Proton. Sorry.
Proton. Streamline Proton.
You want
plastic.
Streamline Proton.
Yes. Because I don't want it gyro.
Okay.
Okay.
Because every single company, Mint, Streamline, MVP, what are the other companies? Who else do they make?
Axiom.
Axiom.
Yeah,
No,
but
does
like-
Axiom have? Yeah, they have Proton.
No, but I think like they
doesn't
make
like
it,
gyro.
they make it for Mint. Who else do they make it for?
Thought Space Athletics.
Thoughts, all that stuff. Every single one of those that I felt is absolutely incredible. The freaking grackle or
I just
whatever
don't
in
like
that
how
plastic,
stiff it is.
it feels really, really good.
That was
It's-
always my
it's a
qualm.
little
it
slippery
also
to me.
It is slick, too.
it's also incredibly durable.
It is very durable.
Ridiculous. I have plowed it into.
It reminds me a lot of
bricks.
Crystal.
And- yes, it's a
Good
lot like
Crystal.
Crystal. It also reminds me
That's
a
why I like
lot
Crystal.
of the Discmania C line plastic. It reminds me a little bit of that. It's a little bit like tackier feeling.
You think
I don't
Proton's tackier?
Yeah, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, I think because
Okay.
I think it's got a little bit more like.
I think it depends on just how stiff the disc is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Proton's
I think
one
they're
of the slickest
similar.
plastics
I think
out
they're
there.
similar, but I think like
I
if you
don't
have one
like
that's
it.
a little like the thought
I think
ones
if
that are
you've
a
got
little
sweaty
gummier.
hands, it's slicker. But for me, with dry hands, I think it's grippier.
Fascinating.
It is interesting. And
You
so
have one more.
I have one more, and I'm going to go with. I wanted to go with Discmania S line. Is that okay if I do that?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Star though. We allowing that?
It's no. I'm new.
Well,
Discmania
it's either
S
Star
line.
or Royal
new
Line
Discmania
Grand.
S
Yeah,
line.
well, the new Disney 9 is Royal Line.
That's
Grand.
why I asked, will we allow it?
Well, I mean, he also put Streamline Proton, so that's
So that's different than Neutron though. Did
no,
you?
no. I'm saying like, but then could someone just say Proton?
I don't think so. I feel like in fairness to the industry, it's not the same plastic to the consumer, so I guess it's fair game.
Are you going new or old S line?
New S line.
It's fair game, I guess, because technically, as far as we actually know, it's not the same thing.
Well, so then another question. I'm not taking this, but could you, for instance, say Mint's clear plastic?
Yeah, that's where I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a blurry
That's why I
line.
said Streamline because they're the ones that make it.
It's a blurry line.
Well, is no one taking Mint's that clear plastic? Because if so, it doesn't matter.
I'm not taking.
Well,
that
I guess it's just if we wouldn't allow it, we can't allow Discmania S line.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, except for we have like people specifically told us that they're, even though we think they are, that they're not the same.
No, we haven't had people say they're not the same plastic. We have people say Latitude does not make it
Yes, that is true.
because I'm sure that's true.
Well, in that case, all the plastics.
I'm fine with it.
I'm
staying.
okay with it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
fine.
confusing.
It's
I would
fine.
say if it's a claim that they're not made by the same company, then you can take it. But if it's like Streamline makes the other discs.
It's all good.
Unapologetically. So
It's all good. Okay, I have one more pick. This one's tough. I have a few options. I think I'm gonna go with another kind of cosmetic option here, and take Orbit plastic. So Orbit, I mean, it's technically
Which Orbit?
Orbit is
Are you going with like the premium or like the Saki?
no, like the premium ones. I think it's like Fusion Ice is technically what they make it in,
Fusion Ice was one of the
like for
mine
like
as
the
well.
felons.
Or
Feels really
you
good.
Orbit Fusion Orbit. I'm gonna just Google it.
I don't know what I think they just like whenever they have like look up an Orbit felon and just see what they call it.
Yeah, that's what I'm googling.
I really like.
I think they just
Fusion
call
Ice
it
Fusion Orbit.
Okay, Fusion Orbit. I think that it's a pretty solid, like Fusion's a solid plastic, and it's probably my second favorite to Star. Like I have some, like Fusion Raiders I think are so sick, and I think that Orbit looks incredible. The crispness of the colors that they've been able to do with like the white backgrounds and then those color splashes on the edge. Like I know like Innova was the first to kind of rock with the Halo thing, and like Halo is good, but something about the Orbit ones, like those, like
I think it's because they match the stamp.
yeah, I think so too. Because like when they like the Tristan Tanner Rive was really sick. The Ricky Felons, like everything that I've seen in it, like is super money and just looks very clean. So I had to give it props. It's a
Nice.
when I see it in the store, I'm immediately drawn to it.
The last one I'm taking, I'm surprised made it to me because it's the plastic that everyone feels and goes, "This is the best plastic ever created." Is the Castaplast K1.
I did. That was
Yeah.
one of my choices. I can't believe I didn't say that.
I
one's pretty
didn't. It's not quite like that Champion-esque because it does have some opaqueness, but it's
But K1's another plastic that comes out. in
Yeah, the
either
K1
clear
I'm
or
thinking
not
of
clear,
looks
though.
straight up like Star.
yeah. But I mean, feel wise, it feels the same, clear or not clear, which is important to me.
It does.
It always feels the same.
It does.
That you won't pick up a K1 disc and be disappointed with how it feels in your hand.
I agree.
I
Yeah,
almost
it
took
feels
it top
incredible.
of the line because I was like, this is the best plastic on the
No, it
market.
feels
But I
incredible.
was like, it's going to seep through the cracks.
It is
As
That's
K1
plastic.
got taken, I was
It
going to take
is-
K3.
It is a fantastic plastic.
So,
Castaplast
K1.
do be doing that.
Got to go with it. All right, so there you go. That's our each
Those
of
are
us
all very good.
have our
bags.
4 bags. I will be making the graphic. They'll be posted over on Twitter at GripLockedPod, and you can vote over there. And then next week we'll have another one to roll through. Before we get into the final part of the show, got to take a moment to thank another one of our sponsors. Gentlemen, you wouldn't want to walk out of the house wearing a trash bag, would you?
Nope.
Nope.
Every time you wear one of those shirts you find in the dusty aisles of whatever department store had the best clearance sale, that's exactly what you're doing. Most men never learn how to shop for clothes that actually make them look good, and luckily, True Classic is here to help. We want you to help level up your t-shirt game and save you with our exclusive deal for our listeners. For a limited time, you can get 25% off at True Classic with our exclusive link, trueclassic.com/griplocked. First impressions are important, and the shirt you're wearing is where the eye immediately goes to. Have you thought about upgrading that? There are some men who just always look good in t-shirts. Most companies make shirts for those guys and forget everyone else with a normal body. True Classic designed tees to make all the fellas out there feel confident in their clothing. From gym rats to dad bods with True Classic shirts, you'll get lots of nods. And for my listeners who are well endowed, they have long options for the tall guys and up to XXL. True Classic also has a 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day return policy. The response to these shirts are overwhelmingly positive with over 70,000 five-star reviews. It's no wonder that these shirts are quickly becoming the men's go-to. Skinny dudes, big dudes, buff dudes, my dudes, True Classic has you covered. Get 25% off at trueclassic.com/griplocked. trueclassic.com/griplocked. Free shipping included on purchase over $100. That's 25% off at trueclassic.com/griplocked. Stay classy with True Classic.
I love his t-shirts. I love them.
They're great.
They're
I think
great.
they're
And 25% off is huge.
Heck
It
of a
is.
deal.
Also, their shorts, fire. Absolute fire. All right, this final game I'm excited for.
I'm excited,
I
too.
didn't know
I'm
if I wanted
excited.
this to be...
I hear you need a piece of paper.
No, I didn't know this was going to be like if I should do this as a pre-planned segment or not. I think it's going to be more fun just improv. So essentially, I have
improv.
this hat over here.
Okay.
And inside of this hat... No. Inside of this hat, I wrote a bunch of different brands
Okay.
that are...
Gucci.
A bunch of different, just like Taco Bell's in here, Bojangles.
okay.
We also got some like Patagonia.
Oh.
We also have ones out there as Grand Home Furnishings.
Uh-huh.
And essentially, what you have to do is you're going to draw the name out of the hat, and then you have to tell us and sell us on how this company is going to enter disc golf and their marketing strategies
Yes.
within disc golf.
Yes.
That's going to make
Oh, I
it worth it.
love it.
What?
Did the other person have to guess the company or no?
No, it's just who's
No,
the
it's
best.
just like this is just for fun.
Okay.
Just like you tell everyone, once you draw it out, you can tell everyone what your company is. And then, we can kind of like talk through a little bit. And when someone's ready to give you your marketing pitch, be as creative as possible.
Okay.
And comment your favorite winner. If you're on audio listeners, head over to YouTube to comment your favorite listener. Or you can just leave a review, just put
5 stars.
5-star review, and then just put the brand name. Really confuse people. That works too. All right. Trevor, you're going to draw first.
I'm so nervous.
This is so exciting.
Go ahead and read what you got.
The Shark Vacuum.
Heck yeah.
That's exciting.
I'm going to draw next. I got Apple.
Apple.
That'll be good. All right, Connor.
Good luck.
How do you want to do it? You want me to draw
Just
for you?
just draw for me. Make it a good one. I hope it's Taco Bell.
Rubik's Cube.
Rubik's Cube. Okay, I like that. I like that.
So you just got to think through how would they market to disc golfers, or you can also think through what would be like sponsor integrations with pros
Okay.
that they would do.
I think mine's pretty easy.
Nice.
I think Shark Vacuum. So my immediate thought is like, okay, so Shark Vacuum has a product that I think can be applied to disc golf if they make it so. Like I'm assuming Shark Vacuum has a cordless vacuum by this point, surely. So, what better way to get immediate integration than to use it to vacuum the tee pads?
Oh.
So
Genius.
you got every once in a while they go to a shot of somebody like one of the course workers or volunteers using the vacuum, especially for the turf tee pads. Like this would be money, which there's a lot of them out there. Vacuuming the tee pad, they say thank you to our sponsor Shark Vacuum for being keeping our tee pads clean and our players safe. And they're just freaking vacuuming those things up. I think that's a no.
I saw a post on, I think it was on Twitter, where a golf course put cordless leaf blowers next to greens.
That's sick.
So when you get to the green, you can just blow the leaves off.
I also think another integration. So there's a lot of players. I'm assuming I'm going to go ahead and draw another assumption that Shark Vacuum probably has some kind of small, compact, like Dirt Devil, Dust Devil, whatever type of thing. There's a lot of players that are living in RVs, vans.
Yeah.
That's an easy integration for those pros to be like, hey, this is the best way to like have a compact option to keep things clean. Just little promo videos there on Instagram. I think that's a pretty easy one. I think Shark Vacuum could dominate.
I'm ready.
Good.
Now Connor on the other hand has a harder task.
Oh,
Rubik's
no, I
Cube,
do not.
baby.
No, I do not.
Okay.
Now, as a disc golfer myself, I struggle with something that I know that a large percentage of disc golfers struggle with. as you guys will understand, that I would say about number here. I would say about 75% of the disc golf game is held within the head of the disc golfer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Meaning that you can have all the skill and abilities in the world, but if you can't get your head together enough to make a 10-foot putt, you're going to score just as well as the guy that can only throw 120 feet.
Yep.
Usually.
Yep. Every time.
So sometimes whenever you're on that course and you just cannot get out of your head, you need something. And that thing is a Rubik's Cube. Because with now our attachments to disc golf bags, such as a carabiner clip, meaning that you can hook it right on the side, you throw your throw, you're unhappy with it. And how am I supposed to step up and try to make this putt to save my par? You go ahead and while everybody else is throwing, unclip your Rubik's Cube. Just go ahead and give your hands something to do. Give your mind something to do.
In the cube.
Get your thought space in a healthier place because you are giving your mind a task instead of just sitting there thinking about how much you suck and how much you wish that you weren't playing disc golf because why did I choose to do this because I suck so bad. Instead, you're in a healthy place because you're just solving that Rubik's Cube. By the time you get up, you've now used your mind in a healthy way. You've exercised your mind and you've accomplished something because hopefully you've solved it. And you walk up, you've already solved one thing. Let's solve another. And then boom, you make the putt. And you just wait. New product on the line, chalk-infused Rubik's Cube.
Whoa!
So, now
we're talking.
As you are solving your Rubik's
That's
Cube, getting yourself in
incredible.
a good mental space, you are also chalking your fingers and chalking your hands. So whenever you walk up to that putt, that thing's slipping right out of your hand perfectly.
Nice.
No grip locks. No grip locks from here on out with the chalked cube.
That's
incredible.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's good.
All right.
I would buy that.
The first thing, Apple looked into disc golf, right, and they noticed a problem.
There's no money.
No, they noticed a problem, which was players gaining an unfair advantage wearing headphones. Apple solves this by every player on the Pro Tour now gets a pair of Apple AirPod Pros. So it's no longer an advantage when everyone does it. So they
right.
balance it out by giving everyone headphones. Now everyone gets to wear headphones. In addition to this, they also have taken their AirTag technology and
There we go.
minimized it down to be able to be
that's
infused
great.
into discs. And they're
There
working
we
with
go.
disc
That's
manufacturers. And on top of that, now with your iPhone, you can track it, and the AirTag pairs with UDisc,
No
so
way.
it keeps your score for you. It can recognize
Oh.
as you throw off the tee, you swipe to the next hole, throw off the tee, it matches where you go with their GPS. So once you do one hole, you don't have to ever touch your phone again. It can pair it,
That's
and then it
sick.
recognizes the sound of chains. So once your
What?
disc has the impact of the chains and then hits in the metal cage, and you pick it up, ends that hole, moves on to the next.
What happens if you chain out?
Well, it can recognize the metal
okay.
basket.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They
What happens if
they
you
have like
plank
a magnet in the metal now,
Oh,
so that
okay.
when it hits, it knows the difference between that and the ground.
Fair enough.
I mean, you had me at AirTags. You're losing me with the metal thing.
No, don't worry about that. This is mainly for the Pro Tour because what it also does is provides next gen stats because it
Yes.
allows us to see rotations per minute, the speed players through,
Torque.
and we don't need UDisc scorekeepers because the AirTags in the discs
doing it.
show exactly where it landed. So now you can watch live play-by-play on UDisc with a map of where everyone's shots landed because of the AirTag technology.
That's huge.
Final thing they did is they gave all of the streaming DGN, upgraded all of them to Mac Pros, and also gave all players iPhones
Nice.
for fun.
For funsies.
And so now the disc golf world's ran on Mac, and it's just a
But-
happier place when you ran on Mac.
As part of the deal, UDisc is now only available on iPhone. So there's actually
So the 2% of people are affected by that,
yes.
and they also get free iPhones.
Can you
You
imagine?
definitely, I
like,
mean, the AirTags
the
are
AirTag
so
in the-
tiny. You could definitely get that in disc golf plastic.
the
They're not that tiny.
Like the
How
microchip
big are
in
they?
the
But
disc.
you could start it.
yeah, they're like a microchip.
They're like a quarter, but
pretty big.
As thick as like 3/4.
Oh.
If the microchip in a disc thing is like obviously like it's doable, it'd be very expensive and hard to
Well, that's
scale.
why Apple's doing
But
it.
just imagine like all the players on tour. Like if you wanted to put a new disc in your bag, you had to have one that was microchipped. Like how.
But like,
wild
think
that
of the
would
next
be.
gen stats we're gonna
It would
get.
be insane. Or it is going to be insane.
That's
Sorry,
all thanks to
It is
Apple.
going to be insane. Yes, thanks to Apple.
That was electric.
Oh, and that
was
doesn't
very
even
fun.
that
I
doesn't even
would buy.
touch their,
I buy into every single one of
that
them.
doesn't even touch the $550 million they're putting into every purse.
Oh, okay.
That's just a side thing.
I
They're doing that
Dang.
for fun.
Yeah, I feel a little left out because I didn't develop a product. I think if Shark Vacuum were to develop a product for
It'd
disc golf,
be the stop sucking vacuum.
yes.
Stop sucking
No, I think-
sucking machine.
Imagine.
We suck, so you don't have to.
I think,
Oh, that's it.
I think it's just.
What do you think about that, Trevor?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's like a. The Dyson hand
yeah.
dryers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
imagine you have one of those,
Oh.
but it's small. Like think of like the size
It's
of
a disc dryer.
Think of the size of like a deodorant stick, and it just puts out like a wave of air like that, and you just go shh, and it just wicks it off your disc.
No, they develop a putter with a putter pocket on
The
top.
whole pocket, it's like an insert.
Yeah,
And it's just-
is a Shark vacuum. So you stick your putters or whatever disc in there, and it just sucks all the water and dirt off.
Spits right out the bottom of the bag.
Yeah, it has an exhaust out the bottom. Just
Back into the water.
back out onto the.
We
course.
have all the good ideas, and just to be clear, we just claimed intellectual property on
Yes,
everything we just
intellectual
Apple.
property,
You are free to
intellectual
take
property.
mine,
Oh.
please.
for a price though.
Free.
For a price, though. Rubik's Cube. I will give
The
you...
chalk cube
Chalk
was
cube
genius.
is sick.
Chalk cube.
Yeah, chalk cube is genius.
I would own that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, that's a good tie, and then you were like, and there's chalk on it, and I was like, take my money. It's
Electric. All right.
actually
Well,
not even electric. It's
no, it's not electric. It's
manual.
Oh,
analog.
yeah.
analog.
Fully analog. All right. Well, there you have it. That's off-season grip locked in its purest form.
I love it so much.
Don't worry. A few weeks from now, we're bringing back one of the all-time best episodes, all-time best segments. We're going to do it bigger. We're going to do it better. Disc Golf Shark Tank is coming.
Yes.
Basically,
soon.
you just got like a taste of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
dude.
like an
Shark Cube.
improv taste. Disc Golf Shark Tank. How we're doing it this year? We're gonna do it right. We're gonna set our calendar so that all of us have time to develop our ideas, to pitch to each other, and then we're also going to set the calendar to give you all times to pitch your ideas to
And
us.
we're going to bring in prototypes.
Well, because if you want. Last year when we said it, it was like a last minute, like, oh, this would be fun, Disc Golf Shark Tank, and people thought we were trying to steal people's ideas. They didn't understand what was going on. They were like, oh, yeah, don't give them any good ideas. They're clearly just going to develop it. And then they heard us talk about clock shirt and the bedtime basket, which the bedtime basket's kind of a fire idea. So now hopefully you understand a little bit more about what Disc Golf Shark Tank is about. And it's about just coming up with the future.
All my ideas were fired.
By the way, the cube would be called the grip cube.
The
Grip cube.
Nice.
The Rue Grip Cube.
The Rue
Too
grip
much.
cube.
That's too much.
Rubik's
The grip cube. The grip cube by Rubik's.
There you go.
There we go.
Anything by somebody is good.
The grip
Can we
cube
start?
by
We need to
Rubik's.
start doing like every time we do merch, we need to start doing
The Photon
this
Buzz by Foundation.
Oh, so that's so much more exciting. We're gonna start doing that.
Maybe. We'll feel it out. All right. We'll be
feeling
back here with another off-season
gonna be
episode next week. See you then.